I'll always have that regret of the not knowing. If I'm not brave now, when will I be?
Welcome to the Smart Talk series, the show for professionals who want strategies, tips, and real talk about all things PR, marketing, and social media. Your host is Melissa Vella Williamson, an award-winning, accredited, and nationally recognized PR pro and communication thought leader. And now your host, Melissa Vella Williamson.
Hello and welcome to the Smart Talk series. I'm Melissa Vella Williamson. This season, our focus is on milestone moments. Today, I'm joined by Michael Klein. Mike Klein is a high-energy people person who began his career in television as a sports producer. Then, he changed career paths by becoming a public relations manager for one of the largest heavy civil construction companies in the world, Ferrovial Construction, and has found his calling in life. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, how are you? I appreciate you having me.
I'm doing so great. I'm so excited to talk to you, especially as you're going through a huge milestone in your career and life. So I want to talk about that today. But first, tell us more about your background and what you're up to.
Well, I got started in public relations in a typical but non-typical way. I've come from television, and a lot of people from television make the transition to public relations. But before that, when I was at college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was going to school for biology. My family is in works in the hospitals and is in medicine, and so I just thought I would do something in that field. But as fate would have it, was home for a summer, and my mom told me to go get a job at a TV station. And that sounded so outlandish to me that I thought, you know what? If I show some initiative and go apply to TV station, then I'll never get the job. And I can just say, hey, I tried, and keep goofing off for the summer and then return to school in the fall. Well, I ended up getting a job at a TV station, and I spent the next 20 years at Channel 4 and KSAT in San Antonio.
I love
And it
that.
was amazing.
Shout out to the moms out there who, kind of push us out of the nest and say, I see something in you. It may not be what you're thinking. Because, Mike, I was also going to be a veterinarian. I tell that story every time I talk to young people, is that most of our paths are not perfect. They're not linear or A to Z. When we run into someone like that, we're usually pretty inspired. But I think that's part of a real story that we need to tell young people and rising professionals is that we evolve as human beings, right? We learn little by little what brings us joy, what brings us energy, what we like to do, what we hate to do, what we get paid well to do and not to do. So I think that is very natural part of the evolution. So from a biology degree, working into a TV station, how did you get into public relations?
Was working with Greg Simmons at KSAT, and this is when I tell this to people, they don't believe me, but the sports world got old, and I just didn't feel the energy or fun in it anymore. And I began looking around and was on LinkedIn and saw a help wanted ad basically for Ferrovial Construction on the I-35 ENX Central project. And I thought, why not? Like, let's go for it. Oh, they need a public relations specialist. I can be that. And I applied, and they took a huge chance on me. I'll forever be grateful to Heather Delap, Gina Torres, and Felix Martin for believing in me and giving me the chance to grow. It has been wonderful. I have found a career that, I keep on saying this, gives me energy, and I have fun doing it. And it doesn't feel like work. And I've always heard that phrase, oh, if you find something you enjoy doing, you'll never work a day in your life. And I didn't understand what that meant, but this is it. And it's amazing because you get to be a part of an incredible project and also help the stakeholders inside that project navigate all of the perils of construction, all of the lane closures or the noise or the dust and all of the inconveniences that progress presents. You get to help them, and it just feels good because you're helping your community. And on top of that, you're a part of a really amazing team of people. And it's just invigorating, and it's exciting, and it makes it fun to come to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just a little behind the curtain for listeners is My company, MVW Communications, has really had the honor to work with Mike and the former project he was on under Ferrovial Construction, Alamo NEX Construction or Alamo Next Construction, here based out of San Antonio. And if you are familiar with Texas roads and Texas highways, you know it's a big deal. We're a really big state here in Texas. San Antonio is very sprawled out, very spread out. And we need to build, and the infrastructure and the opportunities within heavy civil construction was something I knew nothing about, Mike, until we started working together and learning more about that area and that sector and the industry and the opportunities. And you've been such a wonderful partner in terms of inspiring the community through really good community relations work and telling them about what is heavy civil construction. So for those on our podcast that may not know, they're communication folks and they're like, I don't even know what y'all are talking about right now. What is a heavy civil construction? What kind of construction are you talking about?
So heavy civil construction will be, an example is all of the bridges that are going up around San Antonio, subway projects, bridges, any large major infrastructure for a community. It's different than residential construction, which I think most people, when they hear the word construction, they think, oh, you're a home builder or you build office buildings and things like that. But this is more concrete, steel, something for the community. That's what heavy civil construction is.
Something that helps us move around.
Yes.
Yeah, public works for sure. And I think what has been really interesting too is the transition that you've made, right? This season is centered on milestone moments. And I want to explore those with you. So tell us about a milestone moment that you experienced, or maybe one that you made happen that was impactful in your career.
The largest impact that I had wasn't even in the transition from TV to public relations. It happened in 2018, and it has changed the whole trajectory of my career, of my life. And it all centers around the phrase, if you don't ask, you don't get. And I've always heard that, never understood it. I mean, I understood what it meant, but never applied it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And in 2018, was looking for a story to do for NBA All-Star Weekend. And we were going to go to LA to follow the Spurs for that weekend and trying to come up with some ideas. And I thought, wait a minute, how about we interview Jimmy Goldstein, who is NBA super fan. He sits on the floor of every playoff game every night. He is in a different city, sitting on the floor watching NBA playoffs. I knew he lived in LA. He's got this amazing home that's been in movies and music videos. It's in the Hollywood Hills. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to call Jimmy Goldstein and just ask him for an interview. I Googled him, found his phone number. I called, left a message. 10 minutes later, his assistant calls. Hey, that sounds great. Here's his email. Copy me on it. And I think we can make this happen. So I emailed him. About half an hour later, he emails me back. Hey, this sounds great. Here's my phone number. Why don't you call me when you land in LA and we'll come up with the time. That moment completely changed the way I looked at things. And it's like, we would have never have done this or gotten this opportunity to do something like this if all we had to do was ask. And what's he going to say? No. Okay. He says no. And then we move on. And that has sparked this awakening in me of like, oh, why don't we just ask? Let's get this done. And so that's how when I was looking for a new career path, I saw the Ferrovial Construction. They need a public relations manager. I didn't have any, real experience in public relations nor construction of any sort. Like, I am horrible at building Legos. But if you don't ask, you don't get. I just thought, why not? Let's go for it. And it has changed everything. My outlook in life, my career field. It's been tremendous.
That's awesome, Mike. That's a real paradigm shift, right? Sometimes it's just a little phrase or something someone says to us that we try on. Like you said, we apply it to our lives and we realize like, wow, okay, like I see the world a little differently. Also ask you too. I mean, so it sounds like you had a moment and you got brave and asked Jimmy Goldstein's people for an interview. And listeners, if you're like me and you're like, okay, I'm not familiar with that person, what's the big deal? Google Jimmy Goldstein. We'll link it in the show notes. I mean, I don't even know about his house, but his outfits are enough to be intimidating here.
There.
He looks like a character.
Home. Yeah, he dresses like for if you don't want to Google it, he kind of dresses like a what's the word? Like a flamboyant matador.
Yeah, Google that. International Man of Mystery. I mean, all the search, but NBA does a nice article about him being a super fan. So most relatable, we'll add that too. But you're right, right? You saw something interesting. You were curious about it. You were brave. You asked for permission and connection. And a lot of times you'll get those opportunities. So I love that you mentioned that because that is so in line with the idea of milestones is that they are moments that sometimes happen to you and we don't even notice it. Like an anniversary can pass us by. We've discovered them for clients way too many times, right? Did you know next year is your 50th anniversary? Can we put together a strategic communication plans and campaign around that? It's led to many, many wins for clients. But then personally too, sometimes we, don't notice these things happening to us or time passing by. We don't leverage those moments and make the most out of them. But then there's milestones that we have to make happen for ourselves. So I want to talk about a huge one that you're experiencing now. You embarked on a big career milestone, moving from one country from the US to another for an opportunity, one that I think you kind of made yourself. So how are you approaching this milestone? Tell us all about it.
So I've moved from San Antonio to Toronto, Canada, to join the Ontario Line subway project with Ferrovial Construction. And it has been a hurricane of activity and ups and downs and trying to move my family and all of the all the life stuff, plus also learning all of the new stuff for the job. And it all started about a year ago. And we were having a communications meeting with our North American team. Others were talking about the challenges of this project and how huge it is, because this project is the largest project in ferrovial construction history. Ferrovial construction has been around since the 1950s, so 70 years, and this is the biggest.
What kind of project is it, Mike?
So this is a subway project. We're building a new subway for Toronto. It is 15 kilometers, and it's going to travel from west to east through downtown
Cool.
Toronto. And so roughly 45 meters underneath all of the existing infrastructure. So if you think about all of the huge business towers and condos and the existing subway and the highways and all of the businesses, we're going underneath all of that, putting in a new subway. It's amazing. Just I still can't put my head around how humans are able to do these incredible engineering feats. It's amazing. But having a meeting for the comms team, and they were talking about the challenges that this project faces on the public relations side, and I just made an offhand comment: "Hey, if you guys need help, I'll go up there. I'll go." A couple months later, get a phone call. "Hey, do you remember that meeting when you said you'd go to Toronto if we need some help?" "Yeah." "Were you serious?" Yeah, I'm serious. I'll go." It was like I just kind of I was like throwing it out there, testing the waters, but underneath all of that, that was my goal. And they said, "Well, we've been talking about it. If you're really willing to do this, there's some things that need to take place in Toronto. It's not going to happen overnight, but there's a chance." And I said, "I'm in." And it took a long time. It took about a year, but it was an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. And it's been incredible. Been on the project 3 weeks. So I still have a lot to learn, and navigating all of this new world of subway construction, but then also trying to navigate the new world of living in another country, getting our kids adjusted, their school, and my wife's work, and all of that, just all the little intricacies has been just absolutely amazing. And I still can't believe this has happened, and just thrilled for the opportunity.
I love that you probably still wake up and look outside and see, since you're in Toronto, like flowers, like you were telling us before we started recording, versus San Antonio. It's so hot. I have fake flowers in my front yard.
Everything is green, and there are so many colorful flowers everywhere. Everyone has flowers in their yard, whether they want them or not. It just seems like they grow organically. Yeah, it's a stark contrast between the two cities.
Yeah, we love that you're getting your flowers, Mike and family. And I want to underline the message that I came away with when you're talking about this big career milestone is that we have to be brave. We're coaching my son's soccer team, and they're sixth graders and like 11 to 13-year-old, and that range is very wild for children and for parents who are raising adolescents. But it is because there's so many scary moments during change. And the same message to him is what I want to share with everyone today, is that I don't think it's possible for us to not be afraid. Like, don't be afraid, don't play afraid, like, be fearless. I think we need to be brave. I think that is possible.
And you can only be brave when you're scared.
Absolutely.
Along with that, when people ask, "Oh, why are you making this move? What's going on?" I thought, well, I don't know anyone that's getting younger. So I don't know when the next opportunity is going to come around for something like this. I'll always have that regret of the not knowing. If I'm not brave now, when will I be? If I don't take this leap now, when? The interesting part is, so you take it because you just have to. It's like, I need to know. But it's interesting that you'll never know if it's the right decision because you can't live in two separate timelines. Well, what if I would have stayed? What would have happened? So you have to make a decision and live with it and make the best of your opportunity in that moment. And that's basically why I had to. I had to take the leap. And it was a leap before looking, but it's so far so good. I cannot say enough like how amazing it's been.
Well, and the stories you will tell, the stories your children will tell, right? And you're right. They say one of the top regrets of the dying are the things that they denied themselves from doing. That's what we regret, right? So not trying. So I love that. And I love that you raise your own hand, especially if you come from a background like mine, where you're the first in many spaces and places, is that you're going to have to raise your own hand. And I think we just kind of need to get over that. We need to share that message and be braver. So I love that. And then, Mike, I want to talk a little bit about, our evolution as professionals, your background in the newsroom and now as a PR manager for such dynamic and multifaceted projects gives you experience about being adaptable. So how do you suggest communicators develop that ability to adapt and be nimble when it comes to strategy, iteration in very dynamic situations? Maybe like what we're living in today.
Mhm. The best advice I can give anyone, and I think this can apply to many different fields, is be prepared. Have everything that you know you need to deliver. So have all your deliverables lined up, ready to go with all of the content and your messaging and your branding ready. So you plan out the week and you've got all of your meetings and everything you need to be successful. But that's just the minimum. You need to have that ready to go. So when a crisis arises or plans drastically change, in construction, it's never linear. And something could have happened that changes the timeline, and major work needs to get shuffled around and things get pushed back and move forward. If you have everything ready to go, you don't have to worry about it when a crisis does happen. You can put all of that on the back burner and deal with the situation at hand. And then when that's over, come back to your normal timeline and everything will be fine. So it's being prepared. It's when you're unprepared that really snowballs into other issues because now you've got to deal with something new. You weren't done with all of your standard deliverables, and it just compounds the situation, making it worse. So being prepared is number one. Number two would be always look for opportunities to improve your message, but don't make it more work for you at the same time, whether it's your workflow or how you gather content. Is there a better way to catalog all of those photos you just took? Or if you were doing an interview, is there a better way to transcribe the interview to get those sound bites and snippets and things you need?
Yeah, absolutely. I think planning to pivot is very helpful.
Yes.
I tell a lot of people, and I speak a lot because I love to, and I want to share anything helpful I can, especially in times like this, is plan with a pencil. And right, don't get married to your plans, be ready to erase, be ready to change, be ready to move, because being able to adapt is going to be vital in times like this, but it's so valuable in public relations and marketing communications. So I appreciate your thoughts on that. Control what you can, be ready to move and shift and then go back on plan. I love it. So Mike, on that kind of note on planning and pivoting and trying to be helpful as a communicator, I want to highlight your work in community relations, especially on the project you and I worked on with ANC. So, your work in community and community relations offers ways that the organization can help students, right? Young people, as rising young professionals, imagine themselves in roles and just even understand what heavy civil construction is. So, that type of engineering and construction, many young people may not be familiar with, particularly in our community in San Antonio. What inspired you to lead these kinds of workplace learning efforts?
This is something that I've always wanted to do. And I think it's from my background in when I was young, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what was out there. And I have envisioned that if I could just help one, two, three kids realize or open a door to the possibility of heavy civil construction in any role, then I would be successful. It would mean so much to me. I didn't know about heavy civil construction growing up. I thought, oh, they all have to be engineers. Well, that's not me. I'm not an engineer. I can't do that. I never bothered looking into this world. And it offers so much opportunity because construction firms need accountants, they need lawyers, they need HR, managers, they need communications managers. I never realized that. And I was really shorting myself of opportunity. And so to get the chance to go to a school and present these options, to let them know there's a whole world out here of careers that pay well, that are in high demand, that can offer you travel, not just in the country, but all over the world. It's here.
Yeah.
And you're doing something that's incredible. It's benefiting society. It's just such a good feeling, and was unbelievably grateful to Alamo NEX CEO Felix Martin. He felt the same way. He was so for reaching out to kids to get them interested in engineering. And he always said yes when I had an idea to go to a school or bring them in and do a career day, show them a presentation about our project, about the world of construction, and play games with them, build spaghetti towers with dry spaghetti strands and the marshmallows. And it just felt good for your soul. And I can't wait to do that up here in Toronto.
I love that. And it really shows that you can do good work in so many different environments and situations. Sometimes when I am talking with students or young professionals, they will say, well, their goal is to work at a nonprofit because that's where you can do work that matters or help people. And I'm like, public relations and marketing communications, depending on how you use it, can be a helping career, can be a service-based career. You can do good work through it. You can right wrongs through it. You can connect people with needs to resources. And that's the part of this work that I've loved so much, is that I always wanted to understand, how does this work? How do you get here? How do you get access to that? And we create the path through our work in communication. And also, I think showing young people and even professionals who just want to change, like, what are some sustainable career paths today? Because we know we're talking a lot about AI in our work in a number of different ways, but it's not the same that coding is the new hot career. I'm going to go be a coder. Well, there's new tools for that make it easier. So how can you be more of an AI engineer, or how can you work with these tools, right? Versus being the doer. And it is a paradigm shift in a lot of ways, but being able to share that, in Texas and around the world, being able to help make things more movable, help bridge the gap between cities, between streets, between it matters to people. And yes, like you said, it's an inconvenient truth sometimes that we need construction, but we're probably going to be going through highway construction, at least in my area, for a long time. So if you're able to help make that easier and better and more understandable for people, I think that's great works. And I applaud you all for making that investment of time and talent and effort. And I love being on the scene and seeing the engineers too, kind of reconnecting to their why and getting those heart-filled moments through the work.
I want to get back to something you had said about service, being of service. There's a gentleman named Jimmy Iovine. I don't know if anyone is super familiar with him. He is a music producer. There's a really interesting documentary about his life. He started as a music engineer with John Lennon, and then he produced U2's Rattle and Hum. He produced Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. He's got all of these amazing albums to his name, but his whole outlook on life is be of service. How can I help you? And he wasn't a musician. He can't play any instruments, but he knew enough about music and what it should sound like that he could spot talent and help them create. So I draw a parallel to that. I'm not an engineer. I can't be an engineer, but I can still be of service to this project. How can I help? In the same way with helping those kids, let me be of service. How can I help you? And it just feels good. You just feel like a better person instead of the attitude, well, I've got to go out and get mine. I understand that, but there's more to a society than being individualistic. It's like we have to live in a community, in a city together, and it just feels good, and you grow too. And it's like being a part of this team. If they're not successful, I'm not successful. So I've got to do my role in helping them in any way I can with doing outreach to the stakeholders to inform them of these closures or whatever it is. And then we can build and have all of the construction land closures and things. Because if I don't do my job and no one's notified, then we can't do it in the future and things get delayed. And so just be of service.
Yeah, I love that. And you're right, especially when we as professionals take time to just do a little extra to give back and inspire others. Changing one life, right? If we can serve one person, changing one student's life or kind of turning their mind around a little bit about what's possible or what maybe they don't want to do if they're thinking they're going to do, X and really, oh, that sounds kind of icky. Let me try Y. Changing one life can change a whole family. So I encourage everyone listening to just make that effort within your workplace, within your workforce. If you can reach out and just share a little bit about what you do, how you got there, it really matters, especially in these days. So thank you, Mike, on that one. Mike, you're a super spirited person. I find you full of positive energy. And sometimes we just need that kind of energy or spark to take action. So, how can we all cultivate more enthusiasm for our work in public relations or communications?
All right, I've got a multifaceted answer for this. The first thing is, I actually don't like saying it because it's so hard. And I stumbled upon it by accident. It's if you can find something you like to do, then it's not work. Like I would be a horrible salesperson if it was selling vacuums or dictionaries or whatever. I wouldn't get anything out of it. And in this role, I am helping the community and it just feels good. And so, from that aspect, if you can find something that gives you energy, that makes you happy, then that's half the battle. That's more than half the battle. The other part of this is how I look at life. And right now, we live in a really amazing time, technology wise. I think a lot of people are more socially aware. There was a joke from a comedian, and I can't remember his name, but he used the analogy of flying in a plane. People get upset about going to the airport. Oh, I got to fly. Oh, this is horrible. And they get grumpy about it. But if you just take a step back and realize you're sitting in a chair in the sky, like, how is everyone not on the plane just freaking out? Oh my God, this is amazing. Like, that's where we are today. And that's how I feel with my career, my family, my friends, everything I've achieved. And with the help of a ton of people, I wouldn't be here. So I can't say I've done this by myself because no one goes anywhere without a ridiculous amount of help. It's amazing. And we are all sitting in a chair in the sky. And if you just take a step back and count your blessings, there are way more than the negative. That's how I approach life and how I try to see things. The other thing I tell my kids, and this is a little bit for more kids, when they're grumpy in the morning. You remember the show Winnie the Pooh?
Yes, and Piglet
Yeah.
too.
Yes. So when they're grumpy in the morning, I would ask them, okay, hey, how do you feel? Do you want to be an Eeyore or do you want to be a Tigger today? You choose. And I'm pretty sure most people, I'm like, yeah, I really don't want to be an Eeyore. And that kind of good energy just attracts other people, and they're more willing to help you. They're more willing to answer your questions. And you just have a good aura of people surrounding you, and it just makes your day better.
All the Eeyores are like, Tigger's so annoying. No, I totally get it because, I've got kids that are growing too, and Inside Out 2, that recent
Mm.
movie, is on my mind as well because there's a character, Ennui, and Ennui's very bored and blah. And I'm like, ew. Like, and I told my kids, I'm like, I'm telling you, in the workplace, if you just act like you care and actually, do the simple fundamentals of life where you say you're going to do something and actually do it and you show up on time. But I said enthusiasm will actually take you so far because most people are very ennui or Eeyore or whatnot. So
Hmm.
I think
Yep.
trying to support ourselves and giving ourselves the care we need to look at whatever we can with, like you're saying, gratitude, an eye for service, trying to look for the good each day or make it. That's where I get really passionate is like, okay, be the change. Sometimes we have no choice and it's exhausting. It can get tiring. I own that. I honor that. But I call us all to action in terms of sharing your caring and sharing a little enthusiasm and optimism whenever you can, honoring all the complexity of life. Well, Mike, I know that we could talk to you forever, but you do have a major project you need to get back to. I love to chat with my guests, and I want to ask all of them, what does smart talk mean to you?
That's a great question. Smart talk to me, in a business sense, in a public relations sense, is a clear, concise message using as few words as possible to drive home your point. On the home side, smart talk to me would be having empathy and curiosity, and not so much talking, but listening and being curious, asking why. And that will help you become a better communicator in all facets of life.
Definitely, and I like what you're talking about too. It's the tone, it's the approach, it's reading the room. I'm kind of obsessed with the word gentle right now. I'm reading a book about being gentle with all things. And I think that's a very good word for us to think about in the
Mhm.
times that are tough, right? Is how can we be just more gentle with others, ourselves? Sometimes that it feels a little better to me than grace. You're right. Because sometimes people are like, I don't know if I'm going to give you grace on that one. But
Mhm.
maybe the
Mhm.
gentleness is with ourselves. So I love it. Thank you for giving us a holistic view of Smart Talk on that, Mike. Well, Mike,
Of
this has
course.
been, yeah, such a fun conversation. And I think our listeners would be really intrigued about your adventures all the way around. And then your work on the project, of course. What's the best way for listeners to connect with you?
Great question. I need to I need to be a better connector, if that's a
That
real
is the
noun.
term. Yes.
Um, but it would be LinkedIn. I still need to update it. I haven't updated it yet. Michael Klein on LinkedIn. It's been such a whirlwind moving up here, a family of five, starting this new position. And so I haven't had time to get to it yet. But I just last week went into my first shaft of one of the future subway stations. And so I was able to take pictures in there and ask a bunch of fun questions. And so I need to put some of those pictures on there and then update that. But I promise I will look at that more often.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll find him on LinkedIn, folks. And thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thanks to our listeners for joining me for today's episode. We love covering communication topics that elevate our industry practice. If you'd like to go deeper, you can work with me as a coach, trainer, consultant, or hire my firm, MVW Communications, for strategic communication and public relations services. My industry books, Smart Talk Public Relations Essentials All Pros Should Know, and Latinas in Public Relations, Shaping Communications, Communities, and Culture, are also available for purchase on Amazon. Grab your copy there, and please leave us a supportive review. Book reviews and podcast reviews help more aspiring or hardworking pros find our resources. As always, think smart and communicate smart. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Smart Talk series. If you learned something or enjoyed our conversation, share it on social media or send to a friend. To learn more about this and other communication topics, visit mvw360.com. That's mvw360.com.